Hello and welcome to the Harrington Group International webinar on audit management. Um, Basically talking about how to reduce costs and maintain compliance in the area of management and share some insights, advice, and next steps. Hopefully you're familiar with the basics of an audit. We got to basically schedule it, an audit or a series of audits. We want to conduct the audit, attach evidence of what we found, create follow-up activities if there's any issues we need to look at. Then we want to be able to have some trend analysis, view some reporting and charts, and again, trying to improve the process by seeing common findings and solve them. So let's take a look. But first, little housekeeping. There's a lot of people on the call today, so the phones are muted. We do want to take questions at the end, so if you can, type them into the Q&A box. And interesting, we have a great mix of people today. A lot of people from quality, more and more from environmental health and safety, and this time a lot more from the internal audit departments of finance and accounting. So anxious to hear what kind of questions we get and the feedback we get. So today's discussion, we're just going to go through the basic steps of defining the problem, looking at the HQMS solution and the software demo, and then talking about ROI. The problem, and this information came out of an Ernst & Young result survey they did on audits. And the question they were asking, are audits annoying or helpful? And it's interesting because the people we talk to that are into the day-to-day audits, doing it in a very manual spreadsheet environment, often describe them as annoying. But what we want to get to is, a simple way of getting risk assessments. We really, the whole purpose of the audit is continuous improvement. So looking at the risk and looking at the impact of that. But what the Ernst & Young survey says, we got to get the right tools and a correct approach. And what we need is technology-driven risk identification process. They also stress, and we found this interesting, collaboration tools are critical to improve the communication gap between the stakeholders and the auditors. And that's probably one of the biggest area where they found whether audits are working or not working. And again, collaboration in standalone binders and spreadsheets is very difficult. And you'll see how we can improve that a lot with the HQMS audit module. And then the last one, of course, was, give me some timely feedback. If stuff's going on, let's go through and look at it. So, again, the audit process is kind of a risk identification, building the checklist that we want to go out and look at. Again, from last year's session, there are a lot of questions that we do support. And what if I want to modify checklists? What if I want to add some things on particular ones? All that's capable with it. Scheduling the audits, notifying people the audit's being scheduled. Nobody likes an auditor showing up, unnotified or that we forget about. So the ability to track and control those. Then perform the audits, of course, and document the findings. So, part of what this all involves is, as we get into some of the, I don't want to say sensitive, but areas where, some people, we want to have access to the audit findings and not. We want to have all sorts of security and access options, which HQMS does. And then the other thing is that what came up in some of the questions last year is the ability for the audit manager to talk to other things in the app, like document control, or what if we have to do a training event, those kind of issues. But access integration capability is critical to the solution. And again, this was one of the things where the idea of reducing costs and analyzing trends, improving the process, reports and charting have got to be part of the solution. It's got to be part of the way we can bring this out. So, just show me the report by auditor, show it to me by department, show it by location, all that kind of information. to make it quick and easy to be able to see that. Now, the HQMS audit module is part of a broader app that, I mean, really, it has everything and the kitchen sink. So security, any device, anytime, configuration ability, email notifications, the reporting we talked about, all that kind of capability. And again, what we're looking at is the days of conducting audits by walking around clipboards, typing, re-entering into spreadsheets, handing out printed lists are kind of gone, because we can simplify the entire process with the type of electronic solution that the EY survey was talking about. Probably the most important thing is track the entire audit process from design through execution onto process improvement. That is where a lot of companies fail to get to. Is it helpful? Because they don't get to process improvement well. They stop with the findings and let it go. So a lot of ability and capability to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the software. We have Rodney with us today, who is a subject matter expert and going to show us the tool today.
Great, thanks, John. Let me get my screen share up here. Okay, great. So today, as John mentioned, I'm going to walk through the software demo portion, kind of show some features in the audit module, how we work on it, how we generate some reports, all the things that John has mentioned there. So in this example, another user assigned myself an audit. So I received an email. I can click on the link in that email. It'll take me to the login page. And of course, then I can simply log in. And then that would take me directly to the record. If I was already logged in, then when I clicked on the link, it would take me there and I would not have needed to log in. So this audit, we've already kind of pushed it through some of its steps. Technically, it came from a plan, so it already has a checklist associated with it. As John mentioned, we could have maybe modified some items on that checklist versus how it was in the template, but that was not done here. So now we're in the perform section. So I can simply click on the checklist link here, and that'll take me to what we call our checklist details page. And we have some basic information for the checklist that helps us find it through queries and helps us identify what type of checklist it is. And then down at the bottom, we have our items area, which are the questions on the checklist. And so I can click on this first item here. This is the way that an auditor would go through and audit or the checklist. They have this simple to use pop-up. They can choose their results and navigate through it. So we might say this failed. It was a major finding. You can type what failed here. And then I can click on this right arrow to go to the next one. Once I'm on here, maybe this one passed and we generated an observation, and we could type in the observation details down here. We have these identifiers that are set to the item, and I would continue to go through and answer each item. In this example, though, to save some time, I'm going to click on the right arrow to go to the end. This would be the final page that someone would see if they answered this. Maybe I passed it, and then I click on this right arrow. It says we're at the end, so I simply click close. We'll save this here. At this point, we can upload or associate evidence here. It could be a file attachment, a picture of the item, a document, a spreadsheet. We can attach that to the item or to the overall checklist. I'm not going to attach it to the checklist here. What I can do is I can click on this item. We can go to its details page here, and we have this references area, which pretty much every record in HQMS has this. And in this case, I'm going to upload a picture here. This is our Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't save the. Okay, yeah, this is right here. Looking at the wrong name. There we go. So we have our blocked exit, which kind of goes along with the fire escape procedure there. And then that was a file attachment. I can also associate something within HQMS. If I click on this associate record here, we'll choose document revisions. I'm going to find an existing document in the system. I'll set up my filter here to look for this document. Contains exit. Here's our emergency exit route document. And technically, we could show that title there. And then I simply click on save. So now we've actually attached to a document in the system. So in HQMS, we can reference pretty much any HQMS record to any other HQMS record and set up a whole series of links here. And so now let me get back to that audit here. And so I performed it, so I'll go to the next section here. We have our checklist results area. These are the statistics from the audit. We can review how many passed, failed, etc. And I would simply approve that to get to the next stage where I want to discuss some things here. So in this case, we have an example to generate an optional audit findings record. That's just something else that I will technically assign to myself. The audit findings record collects up our findings from the audit, which could either be things that passed or failed. The items that passed, if they're an observation, they have a finding. And so I can go over here and we'll click on the first finding here. And then technically I can make an action for this finding. So maybe we'll make a scheduled training record. Obviously some procedures weren't followed. The training was lacking there, and I'm not going to fill everything out here for the purpose of this demo. The key is we have to get to our training here. But you can fill in all the rest of the details. The purpose of this demo is not for training right now. So we'll save that record there. And there we go. Here's our associated record to follow up with that finding activity. To show another area in the system, we have this audit plan area. This is an optional module. But you can use this if you will conduct a series of audits using generally like the same checklist over any given time period. And so, users would add a checklist to the plan, which would get added to the audit when we create it. And technically in this schedule management section, we can set up an automatic schedule, which this one is set up on a monthly schedule, or we can manually create the audits. So if I go to this audits tab on the plan, we can see the audits over the course of time that were generated from this plan. And then if I go to this findings tab, if we use that findings system, then we can easily get to the findings that came from the audits, that came from the plan. And so example, if I click on this findings record 147 that was already closed here, so this findings record would show the actions that were associated with that audit, so we can navigate into them. Great. And then, of course, actually, one more thing we talked about. We can use this navigation area to go through those findings that were associated with that plan 1 of 2 here. So, there was some discussion of reports and charts, and I want to log in a little bit different way here. And in this first example, I'm going to demonstrate that I have a saved report here. If you generate a report, you can save it to this home page. So with just one link, I can click, or I'm sorry, with just one click, I can click on the link and then I can view the report, which this one, based on my filter there, that was the audit schedule for my employees and the audits that are open. And so we can see those displayed there. And another thing that I want to demonstrate is our charts here. And in this case, I'm not going to use the save chart function. I'm going to kind of navigate, show how we would go through that process there. So I can click on the chart. Once we're on this screen, technically I can generate a filter where I could look for records, where maybe the date originated is this year or the previous year. I can filter on other fields, but I'm just going to display all records. And what I want to do is change a few things here. By default, it shows records for each assigned or responsible user, the number of records per user. But instead, I'm going to show the number of records per department, but then also I want to slice and dice that a little bit further where I can show the average of the total findings here. And I'm going to actually hide the grid lines here as an example and click refresh chart. So now it's grouping by department, but then the average number of findings per each audit within that department. And you can change maybe the title here to reflect what we did here. And that just changes the title at the top. And then technically I can even save this chart. If I click on this add to my charts link, that would put it on the home page and give me just one-click access to generate this chart without going through all those changes that I just demonstrated. And then just one last area here. And to view like our common findings for something here, we have this module in here called our Audit Master Items List, which would list each unique instance of an item. Whoops, I'm sorry, wrong click there. So technically each item is copied as we continue to use it through the system. But this list here would show us the statistics of each item and how many times it was used here. Let me just do a filter here. And sorry, this is the one I want to get here. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I was filtering in the wrong area there. All right. So this was the item I was trying to get to here. Sorry, forgive me. I got to the wrong thing. So we get to this master item page here. And basically down at the bottom, it'll show all the times that item was used throughout the system, which this list could grow and grow over time. Could be used maybe hundreds of times. And so technically this is a sub list, and I can actually filter within this sub list, maybe where I said result is fail, click get records. We could even add a audit location field on here or a department, so I can even slice and dice this out a little bit further here. And then users can even click on this edit layout link, which they can do this on any list. And you can add other fields in here to see other information. And then once you've generated this list, like any other list in HQMS, you can also export this to Excel. If I click on this little export icon here and then click open, that would just generate a spreadsheet with that information. And if I added extra columns, those would also show up here. So great. So that's my portion. I'll send it back over to John now. Thank you.
Hey, Rodney, thank you so much. That last part, I think, is the area that common findings. A lot of people have seen horsepower too. The people using the tool across multiple facilities, without it, they don't necessarily see common problems across all the plants. If you're just in a single plant, that's all you can see. It's all you can see. So very, very powerful functionality. Hey, for those who were on last year with us to learn more about this, we did add a couple slides. The ability of synchronizing audit checklists. So everything that Audit showed you in the enterprise, HQMS, keep them up to date, ensure nothing's missed. The ability, again, synchronizing with this big enterprise system, get all the workflows, get all the information Rodney went through. But again, when I don't have internet access, can I still do audits? And the answer is yes. The other one is Harrington, unlike some of the larger enterprise quality management systems out there, still actively supports and welcomes small businesses. So there's an alternative option to the enterprise app that Rodney just demoed, and that's our Audit Master 4.0 desktop that's available. So the last subject, ROI. I mean, no matter when we go in this to say, well, geez, John, we got to do it. It's mandatory from our customers or whatever, or from our accounting firms. But no matter who you are, we just want to make sure we can get a faster, better audit process. And yeah, we want to save money. Of course we do. So we want to make sure the audits are right. We want to make sure we can simplify the process. And again, if the goal is reduce costs, analyze trends, improve process, we've got to follow up. So we've got to make sure that once those findings are documented, we assign responsibility to people and never miss it. Don't let them fall through the cracks. So make sure they're all put together and done. And then, that reporting that Rodney went through very quickly, just the ability to go through it. But, if somebody in your company is asking you for a specific ROI, that's fine. That may or may not be possible. But my advice is, if you need help, go to the accounting department. They have the data that's needed. And even if they don't, if you're going to estimate something, from experience, I'll tell you, it's much better to have somebody from accounting sitting next to you that approved the estimate versus just guessing on your own. But, all of it. Why are we doing this again? John wants to return. Oh, I just want to be able to know what audits have to be done this week without a lot of work. And, what audits are past due? Do I increase or decrease my audit? All those things that people are wondering about, HGI can help with the tool. So, how to get started? It's all point A and point B. Where are you at now? Where do you want to go with your audit process? HQMS does have flexible pricing based on concurrent or concurrent users, and also based on the option to have it self-hosted on your site or cloud hosted. So very, very flexible capability. And again, I mentioned at the beginning that Audit is part of the HQMS Enterprise app. A lot of tools and support broader than audits if you need that kind of support. And a little bit about the Harrington Group. We've been around since 1991 with over 45,000 customers. Our team is focused on developing cost-effective quality management software that evolves as your business grows. And that's why why do we still offer desktops? Because people just need something to get started, to get that digitization effort moving. However, we've been around for a long time. We have clients that have been with us for over 10, 15 years. We deliver both substantial short-term improvements, but we also focus on the long-term financial results through how we provide the software tools and the services. Ronnie, it does look like we have a couple questions here. Let's see. It's basically what they're asking is this company is going through a bunch of different audits from a bunch of different regulatory bodies, so not customers. And the question, Rodney, is can we have different audit checklists based on, one's an environmental audit, one's a safety audit, one's a industrial audit. Can we have different ones based on the audit types?
Sure. Someone may or may not have noticed that, but technically within the checklist, there's a series of drop-down fields. I think there's 4 of them, so you can put values in there for your type or category of audit.
Okay. Somebody said, like the analytics, is there a way to analyze the difference between major, minor, and OFI findings?
Sure. When I went through my audit there and I answered some of those items, I did set that finding type technically major, minor, observation, or OFI. So yes, you can set that, and you can also configure those types exactly how you want them.
Okay, it looks like this last one's really just a compliment to you, Rodney. Said great demo. They love the ability to manage audit artifacts, the storage retrievals for supporting both findings and responses. So the ability to go through and connect all those together, they liked a lot.
Good.
All right, so with that said, we would be more than happy to schedule a demo for your team. Just reach out to us at sales@hgint.com. And thank you so much for your time.